Hi everybody, welcome. Tammy from Tammy's Homesteading Crafts. Today we are, as you can see in the garden, we are doing our first garden tour of the season for the month of June. So if you guys are interested in seeing how the garden is growing since I planted it a month ago, stick around. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to welcome everybody to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. For those of you who this might be the very first video you're watching, I hope you enjoy the content. And for those of you who have been here from the beginning, you know we do multiple different kinds of podcasts and videos on this channel, and a garden tour is one of the ones we do. We also do a preserving podcast. We dabble in a little bit of cooking. We do a knitting podcast, and we dabble a little bit into tutorials for knitting if we find something that we absolutely like and think that everybody else will, that it was a benefit to me and I want to share ways of doing it at that point. So if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. It does benefit me by you subscribing to my channel. Okay, so let's get started with our garden tour. Today is June 16th. It is going to be hot this week, so I'm doing it a little bit earlier than I normally would do my podcast, because this week's we are going to hit over 90, and with the black paper that I have down in the garden, I just didn't want to really be out here for an hour videoing and in 90-degree weather. So I'm trying to do it Sunday morning before it gets really, really hot. It's only around 65 degrees or 68 degrees right now, so it feels a lot warmer in the garden because of the heat that is reflecting off of the paper. But yeah, so let's get into showing you how our garden is growing and what we might be getting out of it. We've got a lot of things growing. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is our our radishes. They got beautiful tops. We have a ton of radishes tops in here, but really, as you can see, very, very few radishes. They're just not, if I can get a picture of it every time I move, they're just not very big. So, I think I realized this the last time I did radishes in here. These ones are a little bit better. Did radishes in pots. They do really good as far as sprouting, but then we don't really have a whole lot of fruit from them. But I'll go through and pick what I want, because they're pretty much going to seed at this point. You can see the radish tops there going to seed. So they're pretty much done. They're as big as they're going to get. But yeah, so we've got our radishes. The next thing we have is our carrots. We replanted these after the last time of something getting in there and really destroying the carrots. This bed's doing a lot, or this pail's doing a lot better. But again, I took the cover off and I got something in there last night. There's a hole right there. I watered these last night and they're getting tall enough that I needed to take the cage off, but I guess maybe I need to put partial cage on them to keep whatever it is out of them. I don't know. I have no idea what is getting in these. I think it's a rabbit, because I found a rabbit's nest in one of my other plants, and I'll show you what I'm talking about over there. But maybe I can put these at an angle like this that will keep them from coming in. I don't know. I'm confused at why they feel necessary to live in my carrot patches and my buckets. They can't get away, or the dog can't get in here to get them, so I have no idea. But these are my onions that just kind of grew up from last year. Actually, they're shallots. So they're pretty much about the size they're going to be, so I guess I'm going to just pull them out of there. And I have some cucumber seeds that I started on one of the pots on the deck, and they all came up pretty good, because every time I put them in the garden, and I'll show you, something ate the seeds. So I replanted them 3 times. Finally I got some cucumbers here, but a lot of them aren't there. But that pot, I got quite a few cucumbers in it, so maybe I'll put some in here along with another pot. Okay, so let's show you what my lettuce looks like. Well, the lettuce is, yeah, it grew. We tasted some of it. It's very, very bitter, so I just didn't really like it. So I really wasn't eating it. And yeah, I don't know. I thought I would like that kind of lettuce, but it's very, very bitter. And we just were not thrilled with it. As far as the salad, it didn't make a salad really nice. So I won't get that again to plant. And I hate to waste all of this. I'll probably just put it out and see if maybe the rabbits will eat it. But, you know, they're not going to eat something that you give them. They want to eat something that you didn't give them. So I highly doubt they're going to eat it. If they wanted to eat it, they could have jumped into the bucket and ate it all, since they're getting into every other bucket that I have around here. But, yeah, so I'm going to, and maybe I will do a cutting of it, because I know lettuce, if you cut, it'll keep growing back. So maybe I'll do a cutting of it. Maybe the second set of lettuce growing will be a little bit sweeter. I know they say that with like second cutting of hay and stuff like that, that if you cut it, the next cutting is a little bit sweeter. So maybe I'll just do a cutting, cut it all down instead of pulling it out, and see if what comes back isn't a little bit sweeter, and try it that way. We're gonna do a couple of things here. I'll let you know next month on the review, on the garden tour, what we're doing. But yeah, so that's the lettuce. It grew really well off the seeds. I've never had lettuce grow out of seeds this well. So yeah, thrilled that it grew, but I don't like the taste of it. Okay, my strawberry plants. They are growing pretty good. We've had quite a few strawberries. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you will know that I've been posting some strawberries that I'm enjoying as snacks here and there. We're not getting a lot, we're just getting a few strawberries here and there to be able to enjoy. Something is still getting into them, because it is like bedding down in there, and I don't know how it's getting in there. I don't think it's trapped in there. I do know there's a toad trapped in there, and he is part of the one eating some of my, taking bites out of some of my stuff, but something, and I don't know if the birds are laying on it and picking through the, because I don't know if you guys can tell, I do have a netting over top of it to keep the birds and stuff out, but I don't know if they're landing and setting on it. Of course, it's not high, so they could easily be picking the fruit off of the plants as they're sitting there. But yeah, I mean, it's for free strawberries that were given to us, and I've done nothing with them other than just bed them down each year and put them through. I'm happy that I'm getting some strawberries. I was going to go pick, but then I looked in the freezer and I realized that I have probably 15 quarts of strawberries in the freezer frozen. So I need to use those before I go add more. So this will be the year that I will clean out my freezer, get rid of all of the extra strawberries that I have. So next year when I do strawberries, when it's strawberry season, we will be able to get some strawberries. So that is my strawberry patch. Let me show you my blueberries. Okay, so my blueberries, they've got a ton of berries on them. They're green right now. They're just starting to turn purple, and I've got cheesecloth over top of them to keep the birds from landing on them and eating them all. Still can't guarantee that they're not going to get in there and land on them and eat. I don't know. They can still fly on the sides if they want to, but usually the netting like this does keep them from getting into the blueberries. But there is quite a few blueberries on these plants, so I'm hoping that I will get some blueberries. I watered everything really well last night, so hopefully they will start changing color and they'll be nice and juicy blueberries. But they are doing good, and usually the one year that they did really well, I ended up getting about 2 quarts of blueberries off of these 2 little bushes, so very happy with that. Okay, let me show you my rhubarb. Okay, rhubarb. It's huge. I really need to pick and cut some rhubarb here. It's getting really, really big, and some of it is getting kind of old, and I need to make sure that it doesn't get too woody. But that's probably my project today, is to pull some rhubarb here, thin it out a little bit, and pick the older stuff so that I can have it going. And then, of course, it goes into my herbs. That herb, it's my oregano, kind of already went to seed. I wasn't able to get in here. My berries are pretty much overpowering it, so I'm probably just going to cut it down. And I don't know, I really don't need any oregano right now, so I don't know if I'll save it or not. I'll have to see. I might try to take it out of there because the berry patch has taken over this corner, and put that somewhere else, maybe in a pot or something. I don't know, but probably going to get that out of there and put it somewhere else, since as you can see, the berries are definitely overpowering. They are a lot taller than I am, and yeah, we had a windstorm a couple of weeks ago, nice rainstorm, and these tall ones here, because yeah, they're probably 9 feet tall, and yeah, they bent right over. They were laying on the ground, so I had to string them up. I did that last year. I had to string them up again, but we've got quite a few raspberries coming on the raspberry bush, and there are some blackberries. Where are you? They're there. Blackberries coming on the blackberry bush. These are the thornless blackberries. There's some green ones in there. So we've got quite a few coming. So it'll be a little bit before they come, but I've got to make sure I watch these because the dog really, really does like blackberries, raspberries, and strawberries. She's been digging into under the fence trying to get to the strawberries. But that is my berry patch. Doing pretty well. Like I said, I repurposed this from the side yard into the garden here because it was just overpowering, and I wanted to try to keep a handle on it. I don't need to get 40 quarts of raspberries every year. You know, if I get 6-8 quarts of raspberries, that's good enough for me, for what we need to do with them. And yeah, so that's my plan, is to be able to keep them pinned down enough so I'm not getting a ton of raspberries, and being able to use my fruit year after year and not have it in the freezer for 6 years because I have so much of it and I just can't use it all. Okay, so that is all of my fruits that I have in the garden. Let's go to the herbs over here. Okay, so this is my parsley. Was doing really, really good until a bunny built a nest in there. Just dug a huge hole, and I found a ton of grass stuck in there and built a nest. I pulled it out hoping that it would deter them from getting in there, but she killed all of my parsley that I had in here growing. I mean, it was all through the bottom of it, and she just killed it. If you're hearing stuff, the dog is now chasing a chipmunk. It keeps chirping, and she is deciding she is going to find this chipmunk today. So if you hear things tip over, it's her. But yeah, so it's at seed, so I think I'm going to bend the seeds back down into it like I did last year so that it'll repot itself, which I can do right now. I just usually bend the branch down and let the seeds drop back into the pot itself, because it's gone to seed and they're not doing me any good. Let those seeds drop back in there, and then I will be able to have it again next year. It's usually a 2-season thing, but if it keeps reseeding, it will keep regrowing. Okay, so the next herb that I have is my basil. I really need to give this a cut. It'll grow back if I give it a cut now, and some new growth will go on that. So I need to do that and allow that to rebloom again, because I could use some basil. I think I'm pretty low on my basil in the house. But yeah, so that's where I've got to do that. That might be one of my projects to do today as well, is to just cut some basil along with the lettuce there and the rhubarb and get that all done. Okay, so that, oh, one more herb. Let me go to my cilantro. Okay, My cilantro here is doing pretty good. I just took the cover off so you guys could see. I have a mesh cover on it, and with everything getting in, I do not want a bunny digging a hole in this and killing all of my cilantro. So I'm trying to keep the cover on that, but they are touching the top of the cover. I might just try to put it on maybe a little bit loose and see if it will work. But this I planted seed and doing really good. Quite a bit grew from seed. Hopefully when it is ready, so are my tomatoes and peppers. Not likely. Usually this gets ready before then, and then I'll have to dry it so that I use it dry instead of fresh. I could freeze it, and I might if I'm going to be using it in salsa this year. I don't like to freeze it if I'm not going to use it that same year, because it gets really wet and it just, I don't know, I just don't like the texture of it. It almost feels slimy to me if it freezes for too long. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do with our cilantro. So that is the end of the herbs that we have in the garden. Let me show you what else we have. We have some beets right here, and let me show you what they look like. Okay, I haven't taken the cover off the beets. They haven't quite made it as tall as the cage itself yet, so I'm just leaving this on here. I figure if there's enough space, maybe they won't grow through, or something won't dig into them, but I was trying to let them get a little bit thicker so that nothing jumps into the bucket and decides to make a nest. But beets, I have 2 of these pots, and they're actually doing pretty good. I got a lot of beet seeds out of the seeds that I put in here. So yeah, hopefully I get some beets out of it, even if they're just little beets. We like the little ones better than the bigger ones. So if I get a bunch of little beets, I'll be really, really happy with that. But those are my beets. Let me show you my peppers. Okay, this is my California Wonder pepper. It's supposed to be a nice big pepper. Got flowers on it already. I still have the cage around it because usually if they get this big, they don't bother them. But as soon as I take it out, something's going to happen to it. So I'm going to let the cage go a little bit longer. And then once they get quite a bit taller, I can pull it out. I know they like the peppers when they're really tender, and they'll eat everything right off of them. So hopefully they won't eat the leaves and stuff off of them at this point, but I have no idea. And I just don't, they're too big right now. I don't want to lose them at this point. So it's not hurting, this fence is not hurting them by any means. It's way outside the cage itself. It's just keeping the critters from getting in there and deciding to eat pepper leaves, whatever. I don't need them to make my peppers, to kill my peppers. So that is one, the California Wonder. This one is the Chinese giant pepper. Oops, I'm in the, let me get out of the light of that. I'm in the shadow. Chinese giant pepper. Again, getting some flowers on this. It's getting pretty hot, and peppers like it to be hot, and they like to not have they don't like to be overwatered. I've been putting water on the garden pretty much every day, and I'll talk about that with my rain barrels. They're all full, and well, they're not all full anymore. I've been draining. I've been pumping into the ones on the back of my shed and getting them ready to use. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyways, trying to keep them watered enough, but not too much so that they get moldy or anything like that. But doing good, probably 3 times the size when I put it in. And these next 3 peppers are my Yum Yum peppers. These are the peppers that are the little sweet peppers that you get in the store, like the little orange, red, and yellow ones. These ones, mine only end up being orange. Very sweet, just little tiny peppers. Even when they're green, they're sweet. And they've been for me very prolific with the number of peppers that I get on them. So yeah, again, they doubled in size, easy, and they've starting to get flowers on them, which means they're going to start having peppers. But I got 3 of them. Here is the other one. That is the smallest one of the 3. And then this is the largest one of the 3. And as you can see, it's got some peppers on it down in there. So, actually, is this one of those? Yep, this is a Yum Yum hybrid. Okay. Yeah, so it's got some peppers on there. So thrilled that we're going to be having some peppers here soon. I love these peppers. They're very, very sweet, and they're just great. Unless they labeled this one wrong, because that looks like a pretty big pepper. Unless it's not going to get any bigger, because I don't know if you can see. Let me go to this side. It's a pretty good sized pepper already for a little tiny pepper plant. But yeah, so let's see what we get. Okay, so let me show you my tomatoes, and then we just have cucumbers left after that. We didn't plant a ton of extra stuff in the garden this year, so let me go to my tomatoes. So the tomato plants are doing actually really well. This one actually has a tomato on it. Flowers, getting ready to get some tomatoes, and I believe this one and that one over there are my two Heinz 57 tomatoes. These are a nice paste ketchup tomato, and this is what I used last year when I made my ketchup, and it turned out really, really good. So I'm hoping I get a lot of tomatoes this year. I need salsa, so they'll work really good with salsa as well as some ketchup and stuff like that. But it's just, they're not as a runny tomato as an eating tomato, so that's why I usually get these. But yeah, this one is got a tomato on it. This one doesn't have a tomato, but it's quite a bit bigger than that one, but it's got quite a few flowers on it. So yeah, actually, it's got a little tiny tomato right there. So, yeah. Okay, so then the next tomato that I have, these are my, here's my sign of this one. I don't know which one this is. Oh, there's the sign. These are my alpacas. So I have two alpacas. These ones, I guess they're big enough now that I can take the cage around, because it is kind of hindering letting the leaves come out the bottom. So I'll probably take the cage out from around this. Maybe the tomato plants I'll be okay with, because the leaves are quite a bit bigger. At this point in time, the leaves are a little bitter, so I don't have to worry about the bunny or whatever it is eating these as much. So I will probably take the cages out from around the tomato plants today, allow them to stretch out and grow, because they have doubled in size or tripled in size in the last couple of days. They're really starting to grow. This is my other alpaca, again getting nice and tall, and you can see that it is over the cage, so I want to let the leaves grow and they will get nice and big. Okay, so the next one is my, what are these peppers? These were the new ones. Giant Garden. I don't know. I don't, these are another paste tomato. I guess I couldn't get the ones that I wanted. Normally I do American Goldman and then Manzella. And I don't know if I couldn't find the Manzella or I just wanted to do something different. So I got these two to try them. This one is doing a lot better than this other one. This other one is still quite small. I found a couple of bugs on these, and you could tell here that it is eating some of the branches right there. That one something ate off. Didn't break off, they're eating it off. And a couple of leaves down there, things are being eaten off. So I don't know. I found, like I said, I found a couple of worms on these. I pulled them off, hoping that that was the only thing that it was. But yeah, taking the cages away from the pepper or the tomatoes today so that I can let them really grow. But that's it for the tomatoes. Starting to do really good. Just making sure that I keep them inside their cages so that I can try to control them as much as possible. Okay, so let me show you my cucumbers. Okay. So my cucumbers I put here on this side of the fence, and I put a piece of fencing in between them, or lattice type fencing in between. Each one of these holes had 3 peppers in, or 3 cucumber seeds. Wow, if I could get going. I could talk. 3 cucumber seeds in there. As you can see, that one did not grow any. These ones grew 2. This one did grow 3, which I could probably take out, but like I said, I planted a bunch of cucumbers in a pot at the house, and they did really well. But as you can see, something ate the top off of that one. So there was a cucumber there, but something ate the top right off of it. Or just broke the top off, one or the other. But yeah, and then a couple other spots didn't grow any. So I have quite a few spots here that I can plant some cucumbers, which I will. And then I will, like I said, probably put them in the bucket where the leeks, or not leeks, but the shallots were, and get them going. But that is all I have in the garden. The cucumbers, I planted the seeds probably 2 weeks ago. After I planted seeds on the tour, I planted them the next day, or that day, because I had planted them. Something ate them. Nothing came up. I went and bought more seeds and I planted them, or I had more seeds, planted them. Something ate them. So this is the 3rd set of cucumber seeds that I planted, and I finally got some cucumbers out of it. But yeah, so that's where we're at with our cucumbers. Just really didn't want to buy plants because it's $3 for 2 little plants. You can buy seeds for $2.50 or whatever it is, and you get, you know, a bunch of seeds. So that's what I did, and I dumped them all on the ground to see what I got. And this is what I got. Okay, so that is it for the garden tour. Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about my rain barrels here that I have collecting my rain water. These barrels are on the back of my garage. I have 8 of them. And these were all full up until last week, when I started putting them into the 5 that I have on the back of the shed here, which, as you can see, have spigots on them and allows me to drain the water into the garden out of these spigots. I have a connector here that will hook to a quick connect on my hose that is attached to my pump. So these are the other ones that I have on the side of the garage here, and I have a pump in there, so I was pumping this into those barrels on the back because there's only 5 here, and this takes 3/4 of the garage, where the back ones, all 8 of them, take the whole other side of the garage. So this takes 3/4 of the north side of the garage, and the other 8 take the other half of the garage, the south side of the garage. And then I have 4 barrels at the front that takes 1/4 of it up there for that, because of the overhang that we have. We have it separated into 2 increments of drop. But yeah, this is my setup. I love it. It works great. It's allowing me to have water for the garden, and I've already pumped out 2 of these. I don't think it rained since I pumped out. I can't get that open. Yeah, this one's empty. I pumped this one out, and then I pumped this one out that is in right there and into the back of the garden. And I have a hose in the back of the garden that I end up, and I pumped 1, 2, 3.5. So this one's halfway full. So I still have 4 here that are completely full. And then there's 3 of these that are completely full. 2 of them are empty, which the 2 blue ones are empty down there, which I have to fill today, and then I'll be able to put water out. But I usually just hook the garden hose onto it and then just let it run into spots in the garden. I will hand feed all of the pots. But yeah, that's my watering system, and it works really, really well. It's just collecting free water that we get from God. Figure, why let it go into the ground and not be able to collect it for using later. A lot of times we get a lot of rain in the spring, and we can't, when it's growing season, we don't get much rain. So now I'm able to save my water and be able to use it at a later date. But that is my watering system, and that's what I've been doing, trying to get my water for the garden. Well guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content, and as always, if you guys like this, please subscribe to my channel. It does benefit me by you subscribing to my channel. And as always, I will see you on the next one. Have a good day. Bye.